For the wrath of Elohim is revealed from heaven against all wickedness and unrighteousness of men, who hold the truth in unrighteousness, because that which may be known of Elohim is manifest in them. For Elohim has showed it unto them. For from the creation of the world the invisible things of Yah are clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made, even his eternal power and divinity, so that they were without excuse. Because that when they knew Elohim, they glorified him not as Elohim, neither were thankful, but became vain in their imagination, and their foolishness heart was darkened. Professing themselves to be wise, they became fools, and changed the glory of the incorruptible Elohim into an image made like to corruptible man, and to birds, and to four-footed beasts, and creeping things. This is Hidden Ones, Part 3, and I just read out of the book of Romans, chapter 1, 18 through 23. So, in Part 2, we talked about how the artists during the Renaissance period decided to paint Yasharel as they looked, instead of painting them how they originally looked. They decided to change their image or their likeness as the way they looked. And then we talked about how there were some artists like Dürer who decided to paint themselves as the Mashiach. Now, if you have watched Part 2, you should remember when I said that artists painting themselves as Christ was a tradition. But what I didn't mention was that there were popes that condone this thing. And so we do know that because Caesar Borgia's father was a pope, and he had Leonardo da Vinci draw Caesar Borgia as Christ. And also we know that Leonardo da Vinci had a relationship, or I should say sexual relationship, with Caesar Borgia. And we know that this image is the image that is mostly used, or that is well known worldwide. Okay, so I want you to take a look at this image that I have put up right here. If you bow down to this image, you are not worshiping Yahusha. You are worshiping Caesar Borgia. Let me say that again. If you are bowing down to this graven image, you are not worshiping Yahusha. You are worshiping Caesar Borgia. Okay? How we're supposed to worship Yah? We're supposed to worship him in spirit and in truth. We are not to bow down to any graven images. All right? So I will put the link in the description box again for Idolatry Part 1, because I go into detail and I tell you the reason why and where it is in the Bible. Okay? So we are not supposed to bow down to any graven images. All right. What you see right here is a picture, which is part of a painting called The Creation of Man. Okay, which was drawn by, which is considered a fresco, which is drawn by Michelangelo. And so he calls this God, who he calls God. He called himself painting a picture of what he deems as God. Now, in all actual reality, he painted Leonardo da Vinci as God. Now, I don't know if he looked up to Leonardo da Vinci or he was a mentor to him. I don't know the history between him and Leonardo da Vinci, but all I know here is that who he deems as God. So, in other words, he painted Leonardo da Vinci as God. Now, this right here I'm showing you is part of a blog where there's this individual who takes famous paintings and he tells you who's in the painting. Okay? And so I will put this link in the description box. I also put this link in Hidden Ones Part 2. I put that in the description box. But I'll put this in the description box. You take your time. You look through these paintings if you're interested. And they'll give you more information about who is who in these paintings. Okay? So again, it's important to know that when you're looking at a painting like this, now this painting is very mainstream. It's also been in movies. It's in the movie 2012. Okay? There's a part in the movie where, they show Rome, Italy, Rome, and they show the Sistine Chapel. And they also show the earthquake hitting this particular chapel, and it crumbles to the ground. It says here, having previously explained that the portrait of God in the Sistine Chapel's creation of man, which is also called creation of Adam, panel is Leonardo da Vinci. All right, here's another photo here where now you see who they deem as God on the right hand side, and you see another man on the left hand side, right? Who they deem as Adam. All right. So again, this is just a part of a larger project, or I should say painting project, that was done in the interior or on the interior walls and on the ceilings of the 16th chapel, which was done by Michelangelo, which were called, frescoes. So these are groups of paintings that were done. And this is only a snippet right here. All right. And so just like the man on the right is Leonardo da Vinci, so is the man on the left is Leonardo da Vinci as well. So Leonardo da Vinci is depicted as Adam, just like Leonardo da Vinci is depicted as God on the right-hand side. It says right here, for my first post of the new year, I'm starting with a claim I made some 7 months ago that the likeness of God in Michelangelo's Sistine Chapel panel depicting the creation of man represents, which is also the creation of Adam, represents Leonardo da Vinci. So does the reclining figure of Adam, for God created man in the image of himself. It says Adam lounging pose and left hand is intended to mirror the sleeping figure of Mars in Botticelli's painting of Venus and Mars. Botticelli's Mars is also a representation of Leonardo. Now, I don't know if Michelangelo looked up to Leonardo as a hero or was amazed by his paintings, or I don't know if he had a relationship with him. I don't know. I haven't done the research. Or maybe he was obsessed with Leonardo da Vinci. I don't know. Now, if you have read the book of Genesis, you should know that Yah made man from what? From the dust of the ground. Again, from the dust of the ground. You do your own due diligence. Don't just take my word for it. So like I said in part 2, that the artist changed not only the likeness of Yasharel and the likeness of the Mashiach, they changed the likeness of the biblical characters. Here's the proof right here. Now you know why I read Romans chapter 1, verses 18 through 23, because that's what took place here during the Renaissance period. Okay? And so if you are listening to this and you don't know Yahusha as your Savior, click the link in the description box. I tell you how to receive salvation. All right? So at the end of this video, I'm going to play the beginning, okay? Again, where I'm reading out of Romans, all right? In case you missed what I said. And so in part 4 of Hidden Ones, we are going to be talking about the true depiction of Yasharel. Have a good day. For the wrath of Elohim is revealed from heaven against all wickedness and unrighteousness of men, who hold the truth in unrighteousness, because that which may be known of Elohim is manifest in them. For Elohim has showed it unto them. For from the creation of the world the invisible things of Yah are clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made, even his eternal power and divinity, so that they were without excuse. Because that when they knew Elohim, they glorified him not as Elohim, neither were thankful, but became vain in their imagination, and their foolishness heart was darkened. Professing themselves to be wise, they became fools, and changed the glory of the incorruptible Elohim into an image made like to corruptible man, and to birds, and to four-footed beasts, and creeping things.